If you want to understand the Mustang, you need to forget everything you think you know about American muscle cars. Yes, later, Mustangs had thumping V8s, straight line speed, and the kind of wheelspin that could peel tarmac. But the story of the Mustang didn't begin in a cloud of tire smoke. It started with a ridiculous concept car with a 1.5 litre V4 engine, a mid-mounted layout, and no roof to speak of. It started with a car that Ford never intended to mass produce, never intended to race, and certainly never expected to change the world. And yet somehow it did exactly that. Now the tale begins in 1962 with a little group inside Ford called the Fairlane Committee. Now when car makers give internal committees names, you know it's either a tax-dodging shell company or the sort of group where good ideas go to die. But the Fairlane Committee was different. It had one job: figure out how to sell cars to people who didn't yet have back problems. Because in 1962, Ford's lineup was best described as bloated. Massive Galaxies, staid Fairlanes, and the Thunderbird. To get more excitement into their lineup, they called up Lee Iacocca. Now Iacocca wasn't the sort of man who sat in meetings and asked, "What about another sedan?" He understood marketing, he understood young people, and most importantly, he understood that Chevrolet was already cornering the teenage dream market with the Corvette. Ford needed something, anything, that would make high schoolers put down their Elvis LPs and start saving for their first car. So he greenlit a concept car. Not just any concept car, mind you. This wasn't a clay model to plop on a turntable at an auto show. This was a fully working, hand-built, aluminium-bodied, mid-engine roadster. Officially it was called the Mustang 1. Unofficially, it was Ford's first proper flirtation with madness. Designed by a team led by John Najjar and Philip T. Clark with engineering input from Roy Lunn, who would later help make the GT40, the Mustang 1 was barely a car by American standards. It had a 90-inch wheelbase, that's smaller than the modern Fiat 500, and it stood just 40 inches tall at its windscreen. The engine, a 1.5 litre Ford Taunus V4, was mounted behind the driver, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual. A racing-style space-frame chassis supported fully independent suspension all round. It had rack and pinion steering and disc brakes at the front. In short, it was about as similar to a Galaxy as a Swiss watch is to a cement mixer. It debuted, as all insane concept cars should, at a racetrack. Dan Gurney, a man who didn't need power steering because he had wrists made of rebar, was the lucky soul chosen to take it around Watkins Glen for a demonstration lap. And it was quicker than anyone had expected. It was light, agile, and absurdly low. It hit 120 miles per hour down the back straight, and more importantly, it looked like it belonged on a Formula 1 junior grid. The automotive press loved it and lost their minds. But Ford knew it had a problem. The Mustang 1, for all of its flair and attention, couldn't exactly be mass-produced. The hand-built aluminium body was made by Troutman Barnes, a small racing outfit in California, and it cost Ford more than a fully loaded Thunderbird just to build the thing. It had no luggage space, no roof, and no hope of passing crash standards without turning into a crumple zone on wheels. But still, the Mustang 1 had done its job. It proved one very important thing. People wanted a small, sporty, affordable car from Ford. That one idea, affordable fun, would become the nucleus around which the Mustang production car was born. Now this is where the car world usually gets things wrong, because everyone thinks the Mustang was simply a shrunken Thunderbird with a long bonnet and a prancing horse glued to the grille. But in reality, the production Mustang was a clever mashup of bits Ford already had lying around. It used the chassis of the Falcon, Ford's compact sedan, and much of the running gear from the Fairlane. The idea was to keep costs low, hit a $2,500 starting price, and offer dozens of trims and engine options, so teenagers, mothers, and returning veterans could all claim one as their own. But it wasn't just a parts bin car. The production Mustang, which launched in April 1964, had styling cues borrowed from the Mustang 1. The long hood, short rear deck, and aggressive front end were deliberate nods to the concept car, even if the engine was now in the front and the V4 was replaced with a 2.8-litre inline-6 or an optional V8. And then Ford did something very un-Ford. They marketed the hell out of it. They plastered the Mustang on billboards, TV spots, and even dropped one from a blimp. They offered it with everything from a 3-speed manual to a 4-barrel 289 V8. And the result? Well, Ford sold over 400,000 Mustangs in the first year alone. But here is the thing. What Ford accidentally created wasn't just a hit model. They birthed an entire genre. The Mustang 1 concept gave rise to the production of the Mustang, and that in turn created the pony car segment. Think about it. Before the Mustang, if you wanted a sporty American car, you bought a Corvette, and you lived with the fact that it drank fuel like a 747. After the Mustang, you had options. Camaro, Firebird, Challenger, even AMC had a go, which tells you how seismic the shift was. The production Mustang kept the spirit of the concept car alive, even if it replaced the mid-engine layout with a very front-heavy reality. It wasn't about outright speed or race-spec suspension, it was about attitude. The Mustang said you could have a sporty car with good looks and decent performance without mortgaging your house or marrying rich. So, what happened to the Mustang 1? Well, it now sits in a museum. Forgotten by many, remembered by a few nerds who still argue about the merits of rear mid-engine design. But the lesson it taught Ford remains vital even today. The car industry is often terrified of risk, and for good reason. Get it wrong and you end up with something like a Pontiac Aztek. But sometimes, just sometimes, the most outrageous ideas are the ones that ignite revolutions. And if you ever see a photo of that tiny silver roadster with no roof, 4 tiny wheels, and a fighter jet stance, don't laugh. That little thing, that half-baked prototype, is the reason your uncle bought a GT350, your cousin races a Boss 302 on the weekends, and your neighbor thinks his EcoBoost is fast. So next time someone tells you concept cars don't matter, just say one word: Mustang. But yeah, at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys think of the video. What did you guys think of the story of this car? And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you guys did like this video, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's something else I like. Check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?